Hello, this is Corp.Shephard, and this is my guide to Rifle Company. It's early days. This commander has just come up on the free commander rotation, and I thought I just wanted to share a strategy that I've sort of pieced together that sort of leverages the advantages of this company fairly well, mostly the Easy 8. So let's just jump right into it. This is a 2v2 match with my friend Seppa. But we're mostly going to focus on the build and sort of the general early game tactics that I think are best in my strategic objectives. So, the build itself is a Rifleman and a Rifleman, and then a Veteran Rifleman for your Core 3 Rifleman. After that, we're aiming for a Lieutenant, and then finally an M20 Utility Car. We're going to get those pretty quick. Then we're going to save fuel up for the Captain's company command post. We're going to get a Captain to round out our AT. And the general idea here is we want to give ourselves as many AT options, or many manpower options as possible, like the anti-tank gun, the Pack Howitzer, the 50 cal machine gun. And that way we can sort of save fuel, we get to avoid the pricey major, and then we can just sort of shove all of our resources into the Easy 8. And rely on those manpower versions, those manpower units to just sort of round out our army and support our Easy 8s in the best way possible. So, to focus on the early game strategy, I find that on this side, whenever you've got this sort of victory point connection to the fuel, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Yeah, whenever you've got this supply line, it's kind of better to ignore the cutoff. It's a good option, but I think your initial push should usually go towards the fuel point. A lot of people are expecting a battle over there, but you can almost always pick a better battle that's further away from the enemy if you go towards this. So I saw that he was capturing this point. I really want to get in this building so I can see what's in there. Unfortunately, he already knows that I'm here, or, I mean, he just jumps into the building as a precautionary measure. And so, right now, I need to make a decision. I want to draw his fire, and I want to give my rifles the best fire that they can from long range. But, you know, the rear echelons, they really can't do it for very long. But if I focus them down from this range, the Stern Pioneers really aren't that scary. You almost always want to fight Stern Pioneers 2v1, which is kind of what happened. But now that I've done some damage and sort of hurt it, I've realized that he's actually rather weak. And my second squad has arrived, and it's pushing off this Volksgrenadier that was trying to move in to help. So he's going back for the building, and I realize, okay, stop. I should stop here. I don't want to get close to the building where his assault rifles will chew me up. I'll just utilize the long range against the Stern Pioneers. I'll take the slow fight while my riflemen push off these Volks, and then I'll slowly gain control of the fuel. These are the kind of early game tactics that you need to bring to bear against Over Commando West with rifles. You need to force the enemy, the Stern Pioneers, to focus on things other than your riflemen, and then kill them slowly from the long range, or weaken them enough that they can't do their job, and then try and force the engagement. So this is actually a pretty smart move from him. He's using his truck to block away my riflemen. I can't get into the cover, I can't use my close range, so I just retreat. This is basically, I have the strategic objective I want. I'm connecting the fuel. I'm going to get the resources I want from this area, and he's not going to get any fuel from here. And that's sort of your job as this position is to deny the enemy the fuel. But if you go this route, you can actually guarantee, well, you can't guarantee, but you can make a bet on that fuel. So if your teammate has trouble getting his fuel, which unfortunately is what's happening over here, then you at least have a chance of getting a fuel and equalizing that income. I don't think the enemy has this fuel right now, but they are capping it. So they're going to get their fuel income up pretty quick, but, you know, we've got ours pumping now, so that'll give us a little bit of an edge. With our fuelless income, though, I've got my lieutenant coming out, and you want to get this as soon as possible. I think I was just sitting there and waiting in the lull to click on that button, so before I move out again, I want to sort of rally my forces together. So, as a general rule, when you're fighting over Commando West, you always want to do like a buddy system, in my opinion. So these two units, they can pair up. There's like a stern pioneer that comes around this corner. The rear echelons could provide fodder and fire support, maybe even volley fire, but unlikely. And that unit would be able to handle it. The stern pioneers are actually attacking over here. And this is sort of an exception, is basically Riflemen and buildings are overpowered. They're really hard to take care of, particularly with double stern pioneers, so he really can't do anything. This other squad is a lot more vulnerable, so I'm going to duck behind this line of sight blocking terrain and get a good firing angle, so that if he tried to follow me, this Rifleman squad is going to sort of pick him to pieces slowly, and I can sort of kite him around. This puts me in a great position, basically. These stern pioneers can't do anything. And now that they're getting weaker, I'm thinking I'm going to go on the offense soon and force them out before enemy reinforcements arrive and this gets bad. So I'm going to return back to the normal speed, and you can see right here is where I want to get aggressive. I want to finish it before other additional enemy units will arrive. And you can see on the edge of my vision, I noticed something's coming up behind me. So fortunately, I'm able to force the retreat. Earlier, I had this skirmish with the Volks, and now that I pushed out that those stern pioneers, I really feel like he probably isn't going to charge me across this road. So instead, I'm going to flank up here while my other forces rally here and do a pincer move. My goal here is to jump in the building and use this cover here to take out the Volks that I think are over there. But I see the whiff of an MG, and I think, ooh, I love flanking MGs. So, pop into this building, gives me great vision. I can see that I'm already getting flanked with this MG, so I just need to rush as fast as I can to take this thing down. And then my other flank comes up and finds these Volks. So I'm fighting two players right now, technically, although this MG is like so out of position, it's barely a player. But I also realized that I'm kind of cut off. So try and jump to this building. It's a risky move. My goal here is to kill the Sturm officer and force the retreat so I can get the squad away. Unfortunately, a side effect of these trucks that makes it actually a really good early game is that moving units will just shoot them. You can see that, like, even though I want to kill the Sturm officer, my lieutenant's like blazing away on this fucking truck instead of actually useful infantry. So I lose my infantry squad there. It might have been best choice to try and retreat through the Volks. It's hard to say, but sometimes you just have to take risks. I tried to jump into the building to save my squad. Here's the M20 Utility Car rush that I was talking about. It's a great choice. It's coming really early at 6 minutes, so it's very hard for the enemy to have many counters or Panzer Treks out. It can just generally bully things. So here I can just kind of drive up. The M20 is really good against troops and buildings. You just drive right next to the building. It's very good close range damage. So it gets you a good position so that when they come out of the doors, you can chase them and kill them. So I'm hoping that this will alleviate the pressure on my ally a bit. He sent 2 MGs over here, and I've now wiped both of them. That one's probably going to get taken back, but it's a bit of a risky maneuver to even go that far, but the smoke pots that the M20 gets means you could take a lot of risks with it, even without the armored skirts, and be pretty safe. Anyways, let's talk about what I kind of want to do with this M20. I want to use it really early game to pressure things. I think it's an incredible anti-infantry unit. It's really hard to tackle with anything other than a dedicated anti-armor unit, like a Puma, for instance. But the other good thing it does is it lays mines. And mines are really good. This mine, the M6 anti-tank mine, is incredibly strong. One mine will kill a Puma if you can lure him over it. So I'm thinking, well, if he's going to come after my M20, I need a contingency plan. So I'm going to lay a mine here in this choke point while he's distracted with this lieutenant, while he doesn't want to advance because he doesn't know exactly what's around the corner. So, trying to build up a good front. I still got a squad in here waiting in case someone comes after the fuel. It's possible. I'm seeing a lot of enemy resistance in mid that squad could be moved, but I also have a stolen MG, and I've gotten my own 50 cal to burn off some excess manpower. So, like, in terms of a direct engagement here, I'm feeling pretty safe. The 50 cal is, like, ridiculously good. Look how fast that suppresses. He's basically suppressed on the first burst, even though he was part of the squad with some green cover. The Puma can't really come after me. It's actually scared of the Rifleman, even though I'm trying to bait it into this M6 anti-tank mine. But, you know, whatever. Sometimes you just gotta accept that your traps aren't gonna go off immediately or at all, even. But I'm killing a lot of infantry, and I'm still exerting control. But most importantly, I still have the fuel. As long as I'm distracting him away from the fuel, and I have the fuel, I'm pretty comfortable with that kind of situation. And, you know, this seems to have given my ally some time. He's starting to regain control. We're getting our fuel back, which is wonderful. So, yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with the game state. Unfortunately, it's now my ally who's getting double teamed instead of the other way around. But I have faith in Seppa. So, right now, I see that there's a lot of forces over there. I see 2 colors. If you don't have team colors on, you should definitely have team colors, because it lets you read the enemy's positioning. So I say, good time to push up. I just crossed some retreats. I know that the enemy's over there, so I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to try and plant this. It takes like 15 seconds to plant this mine, but if I get it down on this road, it's almost certain that the Puma or something's going to come through there. That's my idea. But I'm feeling a little guilty. I'm starting to take this map patrol back, but and I want to set this MG up so I can cover that route. But I need to take some of the pressure off my ally, so I'm going to take an aggressive stance in the mid. I've got flanking AT mine in case something tries to roll through and crush me there. And I start this battle. I don't have anything that's good against buildings. I've got a lot of Panzer strikes, though. This is already kind of a tough fight. I've also bitten off more than I can chew. I've got, like, multiple enemies fighting me. But these kind of fights, well, you know, you just take them as long as you feel comfortable. Unfortunately, when I see that the enemy is trying to come through here, I immediately realize, this is a bad fight. I'm just going to fall back and try and focus my efforts over here. Maybe I can rotate an MG. Yeah, I think I have this MG, and I was going to move it up and point it towards that direction. But we'll slow this down. So this 50 cal gets flanked, and my idea here is I'm going to move my troops in and try and focus on the Stern Pioneers, which is a real threat here. But Stern Pioneers and Panzer Howitzers do a lot of damage, so they take down this 50 cal, which is bad, because it's the only thing holding this enemy force at bay, really. So I decide it's a risky move, and this is going to waste my rear echelons, but I don't want to lose this 50 cal. That 50 cal is a monster MG, and I don't want it in enemy hands, so I'm going to sacrifice this squad to get it back. I'm feeling the burn. I can't really deal with units and buildings very well. Not when they have anti-tank support or overwhelming small arms fire. Thankfully, my captain here gets 2 really good shots in this Puma, or it could have probably forced the issue here on this. Although, now that these anti-tank rifle grenades actually track on targets, it actually probably does really good against Pumas. I'm trying to find the Puma and keep it away, but it's not giving me a good target. So, the general thing I really need to probably do here is retreat. I'm getting overwhelmed and outmaneuvered, so I'm starting to fall back before I probably just need to get out completely. This is the sort of situation. I think I wanted to take down the Sturm officer and force a retreat so I could buy myself some time, or at least make my retreat less, give up less map control. But he falls back. It looks like maybe there's something going on over here that he wants to deal with. But then I see this flak track. And this flak track basically means, although I have a captain, he's way too hurt. All my troops are way too hurt. This track will almost certainly murder it. So it's time to get out. And out I get. And now I got some free time. So whenever you have free time with the utility car, you know, the Puma was over here. The enemy's going to capture these points. They might come through their fuel, which could be a little dangerous. But if they do come for their fuel, I need to get a mine down to kill that Puma or something that does come this way. So I'm going to use a little bit of time here to lay mines. So that's what you want to do. Basically, in time where your forces are struggling to recoup and you need to take a little breather, you just use some time to put down defensive mines. It's always good to put down offensive mines. Most Germans, they don't really get that aggressive with their vehicles if they play smart. So defensive mines are great, but not always the best. Going for an all-offensive mine or a mine on the enemy side of the map will almost always pay off in some way. So I've got my M1 75mm Pack Howie. And now, with this, I think, okay, I'm going to be able to knock out those blobs. I got both my MGs. I just need to reassert myself in the middle and take the enemy's focus away. So this actually hits the mine. I can't believe it survived. There must be some mistake. Those mines instant kill the Pumas, so Really no reason that should have worked out for them like that. But sometimes, you know, that's how it is. I'm getting suppressed by this, so I bring in my M20. It's always nice to have this thing on a flank, so it can always pressure all the different angles. And they can easily escape most threats with the smoke pots. But, like right now, when a Jag Panzer hits me, nice quick reaction. He's blinded by the smoke, doesn't use an attack round. I'm losing a lot of my lieutenant squad, but the smoke has sort of put an armistice. He's unfortunately wiping one of Seppa's squads. Our map control over here is abysmal, but all I can really do is, you know, you can only really focus on what you can do. What I can do is fight this force and take up the enemy's attention as much as possible. Force the purple guy to come over and fight me, and push me out of middle. So, I've got my double MGs. I'm not too worried about the infantry coming at me. I have the Pack Howitzer. What the Pack Howitzer really is for, it's not the most incredible artillery unit. It's very inaccurate. It manages to hit some bulks that it wasn't even aiming at. But it does allow you to just, you know, it puts the burden of attacking on the enemy. And that's wonderful, right? If you can just sit back and snipe MGs all day, then they'll have to do something about this unit, right? It's like taking these terrible-ass pow shots and using a barrage on the Jag Panzer. I thought that something would come through that was infantry-based, but it didn't come. I'm setting up my MGs. I want to get this victory point. I see this flak. I'm kind of hoping that my Pack Howitzer will hit it. It can kind of act as a shitty AT gun, but my captain comes up to try and get it. Doesn't work. He's actually flanking my MGs. Really great move by him. I realize I'm completely in over my head. I try and pop smoke to cover my retreat, and I just back out with everything. And here's where a defensive mind really pays off. And no one really expects a Jag Panzer to go up that close, so I really couldn't have suspected that. That was for a Puma, really. But this immobilizes this thing. So this thing, I'm trying to kill it with a Pack Howitzer desperately. But it's not really working, and I need to get my troops back in. That was a bad waste of the M20. I didn't even notice that. I probably was trying to micro this Pack Howitzer back and fucked up, but I got my AT gun out. I was building an AT gun because I realized I needed it for the flak half trap, which just wouldn't die. I take an attack round into the darkness, trying to hit that immobilized tank, because I realized it's immobilized, but I can't quite get it. But now I realize it's immobilized, it's really damaged. He is repairing it, but it's taking a really long time. So it's a good time to just take it slow. This captain really shouldn't be up here. I think I'm just really trying to get this bazooka shots off. But yeah, there was almost no way this Jag Panzer was going to get out of here, so I think this was a bad move. I probably could have taken this a little slower, but I recognized that he was pretty weak too and overextended, so I tried to punish that. These squads, this is probably one of the weaknesses of the build, is that currently I haven't fit an ambulance in, so like a lot of these squads, I'm taking a lot of manpower damage just because I can't keep my troops healthy. Fit in an ambulance whenever you can. Here's where the build really comes to fruition, is when you get the Easy 8 out. That was a lot of tough fighting, a lot of manpower, but now I've got my Easy 8. And this makes dealing with flanks and blobs a lot easier. It's a very durable tank. It's not very good against infantry unless you get the Browning 50 cal. If you get that, it does okay. But the cannon itself is, you know, it's more for armor. It can kill infantry. It's kind of like, I don't know if you've sort of a veteran of CoH2, they went through and they rebalanced all the armor so that it was better against infantry. It feels like an old tank against infantry sometimes, where it like kills what it hits, but it has very low splash radius. So I realized, oh shit, that's a lot of Panzer Fusiliers. Thankfully, I have an MG, and I have, you know, this Easy 8. I don't really want to overextend. I haven't seen a lot of Raketenwerfers, but it's over commandos. There's almost always one floating around. So I just want to sort of take my easy shots. There's no risk here. I don't want to play risky with this first tank. What you want to do with Easy 8s is start overwhelming the opponent with just a ridiculous number of them. So you have to play safe with your first few ones, you know. Use it where it's needed, but don't use it where it would be risky or could die, right? There's one of those Rakettenwerfers, and I realized, oh, there's a lot of anti-tank over there. We need to, you know, start punishing that with the Pack Howitzer if we can. Normally, I just let my Pack Howitzer, I just do a little short attack move, like right in front of it. And that means that it's just going to spin around, it's going to fire at things that come near it. It's automatically going to get its own targets and can focus on, you know, microing my own units. And, you know, this thing, it's only got like 6 kills, but it does a lot of damage. That's why it's got veterancy. Because the splash is so huge. So it doesn't necessarily always pay off with kills, but it can do a lot of good overall. So he's going out for a lot of dangerous AT nades. And, you know, I'm a little weary, or leery of this because, you know, no one goes in for an AT nade against an American tank without having a backup plan. I mean, it looks like he wants to try and finish me off with these Shreks and maybe a Rakettenwerfer from this ally. But I have my Pack Howitzer. I have a lot of MGs here. He can't advance on this, so I just back up. I'm probably going to use pop out and use repair critical. If you can do that on your tanks, it's almost always worth it. Maybe not here. Just because if something comes up, if I've already repaired the critical, even though I could have just repaired it slowly, then I'm ready. I'm ready for like a tank hunter to come up and try and snipe off my EZ8. So this EZ8 is already paying off really great. It's got 11 kills. And I finally pushed off the enemy, so I'm going to sort of consolidate map control. My second EZ8's arrived. All that pent-up fuel can now be utilized. Sometimes you have to stop reinforcing troops to get the manpower. It's not often that you need the fuel until you get a lot of them. But I hear Seppa says that he's going after the truck, and I'm like, okay, that's a great plan. But, you know, whenever you go after a truck, you need to strike with decisive force. So I'm moving in with my tanks as well. I finally took this troop out of this building, and like he immediately comes and captures it. But whatever. We have our own strategic objective. We've held the fuel a long time. We've kind of reached the level where we do want fuel. We want to keep fuel away from the enemy, but we have our tanks, right? And we've gotten everything at like the timing that we kind of want. So we're able to move up. The enemy was bringing up AT. If I hadn't arrived, maybe they would have pushed off his tank before it was able to kill it. That would have been real bad. So try and coordinate with your allies. If you see that they're going for an objective that you might be able to mobilize to help them, do what you can. This MG34, proving that it's an MG34 by failing to suppress troops very quickly. But, you know, that was actually pretty quick. I think maybe they were already a little suppressed. And these are sort of the great shots. I pop the incendiary rounds because I'm leery of the MG34 as a suppression unit. Well, when you pop these incendiaries, they do great. So we move in with all of our tanks to the middle. We want to push the enemy out, but they actually have a surprising amount of anti-tank, so I'm going to back off here. I tell Seppa that I'm going to back off as well. Having voice communication with your ally helps a lot, but if with random people, you know, maybe use pings, use like quick, short messages, whatever you need to do. And this is sort of the sweet spot for the build. This timing here, where you've got your EZ8s, you've got multiple EZ8s, you have an AT gun, you have a Pack Howitzer, you have your MGs, you have a base of Riflemen, and your two Captain Lieutenant, so you can tackle most targets. I sent my officers this way because I was like, oh, well, there's like one squad capping over here, and the Lieutenant's a badass, so he'll just kill everything, and the Captain can come along for kicks in case it's like a piece of armor. But, you know, between the grenade and this supremely strong medium-range firepower, I was forced to retreat. I didn't pick a great target. Great positioning there. I could have tried to use this terrain a lot better, but I sort of got overconfident in my triple vet officers there. So you have to be careful. You have to really work it out. And you know, those troops were hurt going in. It would have probably been an okay idea to not get this EZ8 and get an ambulance instead, but you know, 3 EZ8s, what can go wrong, right? So in this case, now I can't take I think it's almost certain he put a mine down there. People don't hang out in roads, so I don't know. I think I wanted to detonate this because right now I'm in no danger, but I saw that the enemy was back capping over here, so this Sherman might actually go and back up over it. And then you could just use repair critical, and, you know, that mine won't fuck you up later, right? So, I think, actually, I was looking for the halls from Jagers, but I send my other tank this way. I don't actually know how it got over here, but I said I want to get all my armor into one place. Unfortunately, this tank, not where I thought it was, so try and keep track of your armor as best as you can. So this tank was taking engagements I didn't even realize it was in. So, and then, you know, I was like, oh, I want to consolidate my armor in the middle. I was like, oh, you're coming from the wrong angle, buddy. So, avoid dumb mistakes. I don't know how to really analyze that one. But, this rifle squad, no bad news for it. I see that it's in danger. I bring my Easy 8s over. Whenever you have a squad in danger, you can sometimes rally troops to try and cause as much chaos as you can from it. I see that this barrage is about to happen because this orange sector here. This means either a Fallschirmjäger assault or one of the breakthrough tactics sector artilleries. So this is a dangerous move to charge with the Pack Howitzer, but don't really have a choice because this entire area is going to explode and there's no way it was going to back up through it. But he doesn't seem to, you know, you should time this assault ability with an actual assault. So, not the best use of the artillery from him. Likewise, because he's sort of dismantled my middle ground by displacing it, I'm sort of just trying to back up and reconsolidate my forces. A lot of stuff is just reinforcing in the base. So, this is sort of one of those cool moments. I think this squad was just rallied to go through this entire area, while these tanks sort of exerted map control and covered them. I was always a little worried. There was used to be, I think, an MG or Falls unit in that building. Look how well this thing's paid off overall. Pack Howitzer is great. The new Pack Howitzer is pretty strong. You just need to keep it alive. You just need to give it a lot of targets. You just need to support it. But it takes down the whole building there. And that's a squad wipe, so... it's also fair to note that this white phosphorus barrage is quite good, but you have, like, your own barrage. Oh. I swear I knew about this mine, or I thought maybe I'd canceled it, but yeah. You just use repair critical, you hop back in, boom. Mine dealt with. It does a little damage, but it's not a big deal. U.S. armor is so amazing like that, but I see that this is sort of a vulnerable position. If I can knock out some of the support units here, I can take it out. So I drop the white phosphorus, and then I try and force the engagement. So, like, all these units are in a lot of trouble now. He has to retreat through the white phosphorus. And the great thing, most units you can't chase the white phosphorus or you burn, but if you have, like, a vehicle or an M20 or, like, anything that has a nice MG on the top, you can just wipe squads. All these things are retreating with, like, no health at all. So, white phosphorus is incredible. Just use it on large blobs or whatever you like, and then force the issue with your Easy 8s, and you will wipe so many squads. It's not a very good power. White phosphorus cannot actually kill anything on its own. It will only reduce it to 1 health. But if you use the power of your vehicles and take out all those 1 health squads with the MGs on the top, you can just do so much damage. The enemy never wants to play chicken with white phosphorus like he did. He was like, I'm going to take out your tanks before your artillery hits. That didn't work out at all. So, I think this thing, I even laid down a normal barrage on that area. I like to keep my Pack Howitzer hotkeyed so I can quickly throw down a barrage. It's upgraded to the heat rounds, which I think means it does more additional armor, but I never can tell the difference. It's garbage against armor, to be honest. But, you know, it is what it is. It's not the LEIG, but it has its own unique benefits, like an actually really strong smoke barrage. But I do a little bit of repairs before I get repairing on this road. It's not a very safe place. I was actually repairing next to my own mine, which is always a bad idea. But, yeah. I didn't want this guy to have his Raquette and River back, but I forgot about it. So, this is a hasty sort of withdrawal, a waste of manpower. Sometimes you just have to let those go, and it's also not a bad idea to just kill them. The advantage here is that it does push the thing into the arc of my MG. Not microing this MG very well. I think I was trying to bring up my tanks. I'm not really sure what was happening, but I got another Easy 8. Once you get like 3 of these things, you feel pretty much unstoppable. You know, you pretty much are. You have to be very, very careful. Particularly, I had an engagement with like a Yag Tiger in this tight corridor, and I couldn't get around to its rear armor. And speaking of the devil, there's a Yag Tiger. This is a different game though. The Yag Tiger's in this corridor, and I brought 3 Easy 8s to its flank, and it just turned around, and I couldn't get past it, and it just killed me. Like, the front armor on that thing is so strong. So, you still need to use these tanks pretty smart, but when you get, like, the strategy will give you a lot of medium tanks at a good timing, and if you keep them alive, it's incredible. I think Seth is doing, I mean, he's doing Rifle Company, and he's got his own tactics, but I don't think he's following my build. I didn't tell him the build. Let's see. Can I actually, let's see what is unlocked. He didn't he went straight Rifleman. Oh, Jesus. Okay, well, you know, you could try that too, but he was struggling over there, so I don't suggest it. And so, yeah, we recognize that there's a Yag Tiger here, and I say, alright, let's organize a big flank. You take your tanks one way, I'll take my tanks another way. We'll fucking wreck this thing. Until then, we need to... I realize I can't hold the front, though, without my tanks, which puts me in a really awkward position, because he's going to start sniping at me with the Yag Tiger. But my MGs are too hurt, and I need to protect my Pack Howitzer and AT gun. Or I need to quit the field, and I think that's what I decided to do, is if I can't hold it, then I'll retreat, and we'll just wait for the right time to retake it after we've killed the Yag Tiger. So, that's sometimes you just have to say, I'm not in the best position, you've got an advantage over me, I'm going to bide my time, I'm not going to overextend myself, I've got map control that I can afford to lose right now. So, and I think also I was waiting for White Phosphorus Barrage. I told him, like, make sure we both have White Phosphorus Barrage up, just in case the AT guns are in incredible numbers, and, you know, it's Ogre Commando, almost all of their infantry can murder tanks, except for, like, Ogre Soldaten, so, I'm probing into the enemy lines. I want to keep his attention on me. I pop a flare to get some intel. I'll just slow this down a bit so I can explain my logic here, but I basically just want to use my infantry and my AT gun to force a fight in the mid and keep his attention while all of our forces are beginning a wide flank around the sides. And this is the kind of flank that you have to do against the Yag Tiger. The things are just so fucking broken if you just let them fight there. So we find out it's moved over here. That's great. Sep has been discovered. I'm sort of waiting a little bit to see how the enemy's going to react, where he's going to pull his tanks in. Alright, now's the time. We're moving in. So I'm starting to see there's a lot of AT here, and, you know, you don't really want to just save this White Phosphorus, so I'm probably going to pop it ASAP. I wanted to also flank from the center, so I've got my Easy 8 there, and Sep has almost already enveloped this. He's dropping the White Phosphorus over there. I'm dropping my White Phosphorus on this Vet 5 squad that I'm worried about, and now it's just like, we have to go all in on this thing. So, all the tanks are rallying around. I'm trying to distract this Volk squad with this tank over here, and this is pretty much a dead Yag Tiger. These crew days don't actually do a lot, but we're able to take it out. The White Phosphorus is burning everything. It's slowing them down. It's making their life awful. And we get with the objective that we want, so we just kind of want to back up and consolidate and repair. But realistically, the White Phosphorus did so much damage that I think I should have exploited my advantage with these two tanks. You can see that I realized I should have probably been moving up. I wanted to see the purple guy was still here. He's long gone. Yeah, all the shit is retreating. So, at this point, you know, we just took down 250 fuel worth of tanks. I think Seppa escaped even with his the most damaged tank that he had. It's a pretty good micro on his part to get that out. So the game's over, right? They've lost. I don't know if they're willing to accept it or not, but I think you don't really need 4 Easy 8s, but I do struggle to recommend something else. So I just get another one myself. I think if I was seeing a lot more Raketenwerfers, I might consider a second pack howitzer. If I was seeing some sort of armor that I didn't think I could tackle with easy 8s, which I guess would probably be a Yag Tiger or a King Tiger, I might get an AT gun. But, you know, the easy 8, it's a ubiquitous tank. It's pretty much good against everything. So, you basically just spend all your fuel on it. It's not a terribly complicated strategy, but you can see it's pretty damn effective if you get, like, if your cards play out well, right? And in this case, they did. The armor, it bounced like 3 Panzerschrecks there. Well, maybe 2, but I couldn't. This tank moved up, and I couldn't get this tank out. I'd try and drop some smoke, but Yag Panzer just barely. But at this point, I've got the smoke screen. Sepp is like, maybe we should just go in. I'm like, I totally agree. I'm gonna kill this Yag Panzer. And when you have this many 50 cals, infantry just can't stand anywhere near your tanks. It's just GG. I just decided to try and force it out. So I'm going to just flash forward through this. Not a lot of strategy, not a lot of tactics. I hope you enjoyed the build. I hope you sort of understand what I'm saying. If you like it, you don't have to get the M20. I like the utility car. I think it's a very strong unit, even in team games, because mines are strong. Not all of my mines even went off. There's this mine that never got tapped. I didn't actually, oh no, there's also this mine. So I was ready for him to pick fights around the fuel. Not many Germans do, though, because it's not great terrain for them. It's a lot of, most Germans like sort of long range battles, and any time where you've got your back to this cluttered terrain, and there's a lot of good flanking avenues with a line of sight blockers that allow you to sneak up on the Germans. So they don't often choose fights over here, but sometimes you could force their hand, and that's when the M6 and anti-tank mine would have paid off. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I enjoyed it. I hope it was useful. I understand, you know, maybe I prattle on a bit, but yeah. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy and have good success with the build.